Hi, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of Two Up Front, presented by Three Lions Pub, as we are here at the Attention Era Media Studios. We've got an opportunity to get into a great interview today on the program. I am Baxter Colburn, joined alongside by my good friend
Simon Provan.
There you go. I was trying to give you a bigger intro, fresh from Las Vegas.
I try to stay humble by
my good friend and colleague and the smartest man I've ever met.
There you go.
Simon Provan.
That's how you keep me humble, Baxter.
Yes, exactly. We get to do a lot of great interviews on Two Up Front, as many of you know. We had Rose Lavelle on the program a couple of weeks ago. Scott Caldwell was just on as well recently as well. And on today's edition of the show, we have three great interviews. We're going to be joined a little bit later on in the program by Sporting Kansas City goalkeeper Andrew Dykstra, and then later on as well by, I guess now technically North Carolina Courage. They just need to figure out where they are. North Carolina Courage forward Jess McDonald. I was like the New Carolina York Western Flashville Courage.
Something like that.
Those people.
Yeah.
Jess McDonald, she'll be here a little bit later on as well, too. But now we get to talk to a man whose squad, some might say, surprised the Seattle Reign in opening week play with a 1-1 draw. It is a good friend of ours. It is Christy Holly, and he joins us on the shopfutsal.com call-in line now. Christy, a very good day to you, sir. Welcome back to Two Up Front.
Thank you very much. It's great to hear from you guys again.
Absolutely, Christy. It's great to have you back on the program, of course. So let's get right into it. 1-1 draw against the Seattle Reign. Goal coming from Megan Rapinoe, a penalty kick, and then you guys go back a little bit later on, get the penalty kick to draw as well, too. Of course, Seattle, a lot of folks are expecting them to be a contender for the title this year, but what did you see from that game, and how did you think your squad performed in such a high-caliber game right off the bat?
It was definitely a very interesting game. You know, Seattle's one of the hardest places in the league to go, and if someone presented you with a point before the game, you'd most times take it. I thought that there were decent moments within the game by us. I've told the players already that I was somewhat surprised by the quality on the ball that we were able to sustain throughout the game. You know, it's a early season game, and you expect it to be a little bit more of a grind, but we showed some very good moments on the ball. We seemed to defend relatively decent. We definitely had some little bits and pieces we needed to tweak that we worked on today and yesterday. But overall, there was a lot of positives to take from it. And, Haley Koppmeyer, in fairness to her, she just got Player of the Week. She was absolutely fantastic. But it's not to discredit Seattle either. They're a very good team, and they're very dangerous going forward.
Yeah, Christy, I wonder if you could speak a little bit more about your defense, because I think it was a bit of a surprise at how well they played, considering Kayleen Sheridan's making her debut in goal. You have two rookies in the back there, Kayla Mills, Mandy Freeman, and, of course, Erica Skortsky. Am I saying that right?
Skortsky, yeah.
Skortsky, yeah. A young unit playing so well already together. I imagine that's got to make you very hopeful as a manager for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. There's a lot of positives we can take from it. At one point when the U.S. national U23 team was playing, 3 of the back 4 was actually Sky Blue players. So we're under no illusions. We've got a very, very young team, but we also have what I would consider probably the best female defender to ever play the game, in Christy Rampone. So they couldn't learn from a better role model, someone who guides the line, who controls the line day in, day out, and she's very, very good at communicating the information that these players need to continue to improve on a daily basis. So that's a huge bonus for us. We talk about the youth, but it's so important to not forget what Christy Pearce has done so far in the game and what she will continue to do for the rest of the season. And then behind that back 4, we have Kayleen Sheridan, and someone who we were overly familiar with, and from the moment we knew she was in the draft, that was the goalkeeper we wanted, and that's a goalkeeper we set out to get at that pick. We stayed in close contact. I'm very good personal relationships with her head coach and her assistant coach down in Clemson, so we knew what we were getting. And I think she's going to do a great job in the league. She's still very young. She's got to gain her experience, and she's got to refine her game, but to come in and play the way she did with the level of maturity was something that was very impressive and certainly very pleasing from many different aspects.
Well, speaking of the goalkeepers as well, too, Coach, one name not on this roster this season happens to be Caroline Stanley. She was no longer with the club going into the season. From all accounts, from what we've heard, we haven't really heard much about what transpired for her no longer to be a part of the club. Was it just a personal decision? Was it mutual a release? I heard rumors of a trade at one point as well, too. Can you shed a little bit more light on why Stanley's no longer on the team?
It's definitely a difficult position, the goalkeeping, and we felt that Caroline Stanley did very well for us last year, and we were delighted with the progress she showed and the performances that she put in throughout the season. Ultimately, you can only carry two goalkeepers, and we had to sit down, we had to weigh up performances, we had to weigh up many different aspects of the squad that we were building, and it's certainly not an easy decision. But we felt that at this moment in time, Caroline Casey was the better fit alongside Kaelin Sheridan, and we'll find out over the season if we ultimately made the right decision. But full credit to Caroline Stanley, she did very well for us last year. And what was her, ultimately she played a few games with Seattle. However, this was her first club that she was able to get, I believe, 10 games under her belt, and I thought that was probably a great experience for her and something that'll be a huge stepping stone in her career moving forward.
Christy, obviously youth is only something you can work on with time, because that's the way time works. But taking away from this game, what is probably one of the main things you see that you're going to have to work on the rest of the season, or at least for this next match coming up?
Probably goal scoring, because I think we created a lot of opportunities and managed to only score from a set piece. Ultimately that is disappointing. And we spoke to the players about that. We spoke to them at halftime and numerous other times throughout the game. We want to be able to control our own destiny. It's something we have to take out of the hands of officials, out of the hands of any variable conditions that we just don't have control over. So what we do have control over is what we do with the ball when we're in dangerous positions. And I think part of it's mindset, and the other part of it is ultimately just some technical training. But that would be something that we want to continue to focus on, along with many other aspects of the game. We have to continue to work on our defensive shape. We still have to continue to work on how we build the ball in the back and how we transfer it through the thirds. But, it was certainly a pleasing performance, and we know we've got more players coming in who people have heard their names but maybe are not too familiar with what they can do. So.
And just to go off of that too, Coach, I mean, as you mentioned with creating chances, 14 total shots last week, 9 of those on frame. I mean, clearly you're headed in the right direction, but that's something that folks have talked about a lot, though. When you talk about Sky Blue FC, there isn't one dominant striker that comes to mind. When you talk about other clubs in NWSL, it's like, oh, of course, they have, Lynn Williams. Oh, they have Keelia Ohai. Sky Blue, sometimes they like, oh, Sky Blue, well, they're a nice club, but, they have pretty colors, but even last season we talked to this with you as well, is about sometimes you guys being that underdog team, and we had players on as well too that were like, some days we don't even know who we are. Some days we beat teams we're quote unquote not supposed to beat, and other times we're losing to teams that we have no business losing to. Do you have a better sense of your identity in 2017?
Absolutely. Compared to where we were this time last year, we're in a much better place. One, as a team of 20 professional players, but also as an organization. I think we spent a lot of time and energy really trying to revamp our image, as you and I discussed many times. Our identity and who we represent is something that is so important to us. It brings a sense of pride and a level of passion that hopefully is unrivaled throughout the league. But beyond that, it was very important for us to establish our identity on the field, the style of play that we're interested in, the way we wanted to win games, how we wanted to achieve success. And I think maybe in years gone by, that just wasn't always there. So, it's a process, and we're still very much in the middle of that process. But ultimately, where we are right now is we were able to pinpoint players that we felt fit into what we're doing and ultimately can help bring us the best success week in, week out. There's definitely... I was speaking to someone not so long ago about the players we have. Many players are under the radar. They're very, very young, 21, 22, 23-year-old players, and that's fantastic. I'm very, very fortunate as a coach to be able to work with some of these players, but we also have some experienced pros in there who are helping direct this and lead the ship. So it's definitely an exciting time to be part of the club, and there's a lot of growth ahead of us.
And I think that a lot of people would agree with you on that one, Coach, about hey, you have these really young, talented players on your roster.
Absolutely,
We've talked
right.
about that before, too, where it's like they're still just trying to find their name and showcase the talents that they have. Coach, you're going to have that opportunity again to showcase the talent that you have on this club as you take on a team that has arguably the greatest young player in the game right now with Rose Lavelle when you take on the Boston Breakers this upcoming weekend at Boston on Sunday on April 23rd. How do you game plan for somebody so dynamic like Rose Lavelle and just the revamped Boston Breakers team?
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing them. We have seen them a little bit already this preseason, but there's not too much we can read into in terms of that performance. But we know I speak to Matt on a regular basis. They're going to be a challenging team this year, a very good team this year. They're going to cause a lot of issues for teams, and they definitely have many players in that team that have a little X factor. In terms of Rose Lavelle, I mean, we don't want to we don't want to focus all our time and energy onto one player. We definitely have to respect what she can do on the field, but we have a huge amount of confidence in terms of the players that we have, and what our players can do to help nullify her impact, but also the impact of every single player they have. Because, ultimately, if we spend all our time and energy focusing on Rose, they have enough players elsewhere who are exceptionally talented that could do a lot of damage to what we want to do this weekend. So, like I said, we just need to be respectful of that, but focus on ourselves, what we can control and what we can do within the game. And if we put out a performance that matches our potential, we'd be excited about what the outcome would be.
Christy, a question for you. This is an ongoing conversation question for you. We've had Matt Beard on the show. He liked to talk quite a bit about women's college soccer versus the NWSL and the continued conversation of, is women's college soccer preparing these players enough for the professional ranks? You saw some evidence this weekend that clearly can make the argument that it's doing okay in that respect. But would love to get your thoughts. Maybe this is a longer conversation, but would love to get your thoughts on the women's game in college soccer versus the NWSL.
Yeah. It's definitely an interesting one. There's many different viewpoints you can take upon this. I can look at our draft picks last year and our draft picks this year, and I think each of them would be ready to go in and play. Are they ready to go in and make a sustained impact on the league on a regular basis? I'm not too sure about that just yet. We definitely had Leah, Rocky, and Erica do it last year. I mean, Erica played every moment but 7 last year, and I thought she did exceptionally well. Mm-hmm. Was she physically ready for it? I don't think so. Neither was Rocky, and neither was Leah. So this year with the players coming in, we have to be mindful of that and we have to respect it. But I think what the college game does is it's the players that go to the top colleges ultimately have a better opportunity to try and make the next level. And there's some exceptionally talented coaches at the college game who understand what it takes and have a track record of producing professional players. But I think as time goes on, and with the strength of the NWSL going from strength to strength, the gap between college soccer and pro soccer might become a little bit bigger. The quality within college soccer has been and always will be very good. It's just a question of can it keep that gap to a minimum as the NWSL evolves. And I guess ultimately that's what we're seeing with the decision by Mallory Pugh and maybe other players to try and forgo their college career. I personally, I think there's not enough money in the women's game just yet for the players to give up on a fantastic education. But, we also have to look at what's developmentally right for them as soccer players. So it's quite a complex one. And I'm not too sure what side of the fence I want to sit on, but I definitely think that there's exceptionally talented coaches within the college game that have a track record of producing players ready to play in the NWSL. And I'm sure they're talented enough and strong enough to evolve as the league evolves to continue to keep that gap at a minimum.
Yeah, I think that is one of the things that does get lost in the conversation is that the NWSL is still pretty young. So this may even be a conversation that's a little premature right now. As you had said, Christy, yourself, some of these women playing in college, they're getting full rides. And in that respect, you could argue that they're making more money with their college scholarships than they would be in the NWSL.
Yeah, so I'd agree with that.
As I said, I think this conversation that it's a good one to have. It's a healthy one to have, yes. But perhaps it's just too early in the game yet, no pun intended.
Yeah, right. Exactly in that regards. I mean, but Christy, unfortunately, we got to let you run, but we appreciate you taking the time to join us today on Two Up Front. We wish you the best of luck, of course, as you guys take on Boston this on Sunday, and we look forward to having you back on the program in a couple of weeks or a couple of months or even tomorrow. Why don't you just come back? You come back every day, be a guest host for us.
No problem at all. My pleasure, lads, and thanks very much for having us on there.
Absolutely.
And, I'm looking forward to you letting everybody know about Sky Blue being your favorite team. I appreciate that.
Just waiting for the package in the mail with our jerseys and official gear, Christy, anytime. But
I thought it already arrived, but not a problem.
Oh, perfect.
Because we can be bribed. We're not ashamed.
We can be. We're more than willing to. Everybody has a price, Christy. But we appreciate you swinging by, sir, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, thank you very much.
Not a problem. Best of luck, lads. Take care.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you soon. There goes Christy Holly on the shopfutsal.com call-in line. Great to hear from him. Great for everything that we've got going on. We've got more exciting action, of course, coming up for you if you're watching the Two Up Front show in its entirety. If not, that'll do it for this interview here for Christy Holly, for those of you that were watching here on Facebook Live with us. Remember, you can find us traditionally on Wednesdays from 10 to 11 a.m. Central Time live on the Brew Sports Network. Just go to Brew Sports on Facebook and like them there, and you can find out when we're on air. Go to their website, brewsportsnet.com, to get all of our past episodes. And, of course, you can listen to our show on Spreaker.com, iTunes, and iHeartRadio as well if you want to engage with the show that way, of course.
Yeah, you can also find our own Facebook page, Two Up Front, obviously, in that search bar. You can check us out on Twitter as well, at Two Up Front Soccer. He's at Baxter Colburn. I'm at Simon Provan.
All right, thanks for watching, guys. We will see you, if you're hanging around for the rest of the show, in just a moment for the next interview. If not, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. This has been a special interview from Two Up Front, presented by Three Lions Pub here at the Attention Era Media Studios. Have a good rest of your day.